There are no colors in this painting, and that's the first lie it tells you. On the morning of April 26, 1937, Guernica was a quiet Basque town. Market day, farmers and families. The ordinary rhythm of an ordinary Monday. By evening, there was almost nothing left. Pablo Picasso was in Paris when the news arrived. Not in person, not as a witness, through a newspaper, a few sentences, the kind of silence that follows catastrophic news. The silence after the sentence lands, before you've decided what to feel. He had already been commissioned to paint something for the Spanish pavilion at the Paris World's Fair. Something celebratory, presumably, something fitting. Instead, in 35 days, he painted this. But here is the first thing that doesn't make sense. Picasso had access to every color imaginable. He had spent decades painting the world in deep blues, rose pinks, and gold, in the warmth of human skin, the brightness of Spanish light. He was not a man who avoided color. Color was his language. He chose black, white, and gray. Not because of the era, not because of technique. A deliberate decision to drain the world of color entirely. And once you understand why, this painting becomes something else completely. Now look closer. At first glance, the painting seems like chaos. Pure, gray, airless chaos. But the longer you look, the more it organizes itself around you. A horse, collapsing but not yet gone. A bull watching from the corner with an expression that can only be described as calm. A mother, head thrown back. A lamp being thrust into the scene from somewhere off canvas, as if someone just beyond what we can see is desperately trying to illuminate what's happening. And at the very top, an electric light bulb, shaped unmistakably like an eye. Keep looking. There's a face screaming through a window, a figure reaching upward with an open hand, a broken sword lying on the ground. And then, it's so small and so quiet that most people walk right past it, a flower. Growing from the handle of the broken sword. Most people look at this painting for years. They never see it. Why is there a flower in a painting built entirely from grief? That question has no clean answer. And it's not the only one. Let's talk about the light bulb. At the very top of the painting, dead center, hangs a single bare electric bulb. Harsh, clinical, shaped unmistakably like an eye. Art historians have spent decades arguing about what it represents. Technology. Surveillance. The indifferent gaze of modern power. God watching without intervening. A government that sees everything and protects nothing. But here is what almost no one discusses. The bulb doesn't actually illuminate anything. Look at the figures beneath it. They exist in the same flat gray darkness with or without its light. The lamp is present. The world is still dark. This is where the painting stops being about 1937. Because every generation has its own version of a light that watches without illuminating. Every era has its bombs, its market days that turn to ash, its 40 tons falling from a clear sky. Now look at the horse, center of the canvas, screaming, collapsing, but not yet fallen. In Spanish culture, the horse carries a specific symbolic weight, not leaders, not armies, the ordinary people, the civilians. And Picasso's horse is not dead. It's screaming. There is a critical difference. Picasso knew that difference. He painted it deliberately. A dead figure has no voice. A screaming figure demands that you hear it. A screaming figure makes a claim on you. Now look at the bull, upper left corner of the painting. Unlike every other figure, unlike the horse, the mother, the soldier, the screaming faces, the bull is completely calm. Its tail is raised. Its head is turned. It watches the chaos from a slight remove, with something that looks almost like indifference. The mother beneath it has thrown her head back in a scream, clutching her dead child. The bull watches. Picasso was asked directly in an interview what the bull represented. He refused to answer. He said only the bull is a bull and the horse is a horse. But his refusal to answer, yes, the answer. Because you already know what a calm observer watching horror represents. You've seen it. You've possibly been it. Picasso didn't build Guernica to commemorate. He said so across interviews, across years, in different ways each time. He said he painted it as a warning, not a memorial. Memorials are for the past. Warnings are addressed to you. Look at the composition itself. Picasso was formally trained in classical art. He knew how to construct depth, perspective, realistic human proportion. He had proven it many times. Here, he abandoned all of it. Figures are flattened, fragmented, overlapping incorrectly. An arm attached to no recognizable body. A head that faces two directions at once. Forms occupying the same space simultaneously, as if the laws of physical reality no longer apply. This is not Cubism as style. This is what trauma looks like from the inside. When something catastrophic happens, the human mind doesn't process it in clean sequence. It doesn't observe it from a single stable perspective. It fragments. Everything arrives at once, the moment before, and the moment after collapsed into one unbearable instant. The screaming and the silence, simultaneous. Picasso didn't paint what the bombing looked like from the outside. He painted what it felt like to find out. And then there is the mother, upper left, holding her dead child, head thrown back, mouth torn open in a scream that has no volume because it exists only in paint and in your chest. This image is ancient. The Pietà, the Madonna of Sorrows, a mother holding her dead child. It is one of the oldest and most sacred images in Western civilization. Picasso placed it inside a bombing. He wasn't being irreverent. He was asking a question so precise it still cuts. What kind of world produces this moment, not once, but endlessly? What kind of history keeps arriving at this same image? Here is what I believe Picasso understood that most people never fully grasp. The painting isn't black and white because of era or aesthetic preference. It's black and white because Picasso deliberately removed something. He removed distance. Color creates distance. Color makes events feel like somewhere else, some other time, some other people. Color lets you say, that is not my world. That is not my century. That is not someone I know. Black and white collapses time. It makes everything feel like now. It makes every figure feel like someone from your street, your city, your lifetime. It makes you a witness rather than an observer. And this is the hidden message Picasso buried inside the most famous anti-war painting ever made. The painting is not asking you to mourn. It already knows you'll mourn. It's asking something much harder. What will you do with what you've seen? In 1974, a full-scale tapestry reproduction of Guernica was hung outside the United Nations Security Council chamber in New York, so that world leaders would face it before making decisions about war. In February 2003, when Colin Powell stood before that chamber to present the case for the Iraq War, the tapestry was covered with a blue curtain. Officials said it was for the television cameras, something about background colors. The most famous anti-war painting in human history, covered, so someone could speak about war more comfortably. That one quiet bureaucratic decision, that curtain, might be the most honest response to Guernica ever made. Because it proved the painting still works. It proved that 87 years later, something in it still frightens people with power. The question is this: if you have truly seen it, what are you going to do? Not with the painting, with your life. With the things you choose not to see. With the screaming you've learned to tune out. With the curtains you've drawn over your own discomfort. Guernica does not offer peace. It does not resolve. It ends the same way every time you look at it, in fragments, in gray, in a scream that has no sound. And that is exactly the point. Picasso once said, "Painting is not made to decorate apartments. It is an offensive and defensive weapon against the enemy." He never specified who the enemy was. He didn't have to. The enemy is the curtain. The enemy is comfortable distance. The enemy is every version of a calm bull watching the world come apart from a safe corner of the frame and calling that watching survival. We came to look at a painting, but the painting has been looking at us the whole time. And the only real question, the one Picasso buried in the lower left corner of his most terrifying work, is the one you carry with you when you leave. Is anything still growing in you?